What's going on, good people? It's your boy E-Buck in the building. And y'all know what time it is. It's time for this show that we call the Guru Sports Session. Now, I'm pretty sure one thing you noticed right off the rip is it look a little different today. You know, we've been working on this little project. I'm going to have you actually tell you what we got going here, and then we're going to get the show started. Tell them about what you found for us, you.
We're just trying to find a new home or find a place to where we can be comfortable and figure out what we're going to do as far as the show. We just want to check around right quick before we decide to finally go in a new home. And for now, so far so good. We wanted to try out EV Mux. Looks like everything is pretty good on this end, though. You can see us very clearly as I can see. And not only that, but I just like some of the features. One thing I didn't like, but I still feel like that ain't nothing really to be argumentative about. I still feel like that can be fixed just with a simple email. But yeah, other than that, there's better features, and I think we get a lot more from this, and even the prices are better for your buck because 1080p features and a lot of other features that go along with it too. So I'm just excited, and hopefully that we can give better content because you got a lot more features to deal with on this actual EV Mux right now. So yeah, right now this is an opportunity, and it's possibly going to be our new home to do the shows on.
And one of the things I like is that we could actually incorporate some things I've been wanting to incorporate to the show, such as a few sound effects. So yeah, let us congratulate Hugh for hooking us up with a new hookup, man. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Now that being said, good people, we about to hit y'all with a little bit of background music because we're gonna add that to the feed. See how that work out for you. This, of course, is one of those classic buck beats that I've been working on. For those of y'all knowing that I've been dabbling a little bit with some producing and whatnot. So hopefully you guys will like that. Any of the buck beats that you hear on the show, by the way, and you want to check them out, there will be a way to do that. We'll talk about that at a later date. But at any rate, let's get it started. So let us begin. What you got for us, Hugh? What we talking today?
I'm going to start off by talking to NBA and what you were talking about when I seen some of the add-ons for the store. Why is the NBA viewership down this year?
All right. Well, what say you,
I
sir?
want to know your thoughts, unless you want me to go first.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I feel like the NBA in a whole for the last 10 years for me has been down. I think, honestly, in my opinion, and not even really trying to pick on the players and feel like because of the fact that the play has been kind of watered down and it's been soft. A lot of people saying, oh, well, man, these guys are bigger, faster, and stronger. Yeah, be that as it may. But what I'm getting tired of is the fact that they make excuses to not play as many games as they could. It's sad when they have to come in and chime in and say, if you don't play over 65 games or at least 65 games, you won't be considered the MVP. So that made a lot of guys look up and say, well, I will have to definitely play more games. Michael Jordan's, the Allen Iversons, the Patrick Ewings, the Charles Barkleys, and I can continue to name them, man. They will not sit out. If they told them, the coaches, like, I need y'all to sit out today or I need you to rest, man, they would not do that. They had the competitiveness, and Kobe Bryant, man, he really had to be heard for him to sit out a game or not be playing. But the new guys, man, that's the normal, man. It all started with Greg Popovich, with the Popovich rule, where the Spurs will make up a BS injury and they'll sit out and kind of rest their players and try to get them ready for the playoffs. My main thing is, they're not going to be as aggressive and doing all the crazy things that they used to do back in the day. But then I heard Stephen A. say something, Steven Johnson say something, and a few other guys talked about it too, saying that when that happened, they wanted to play and they wanted to be competitive and they wanted to compete with the best every night. He had a sprained ankle and he was saying that he was going to try his best to play the next day afterwards because he wanted to compete and he knew who they was playing and they wanted to play against the best to, see where they at and see where their skill level is. And I just don't think it's that type of breed no more. Most of the guys feel like they don't care about that. As long as they get no money, a la Joel Embiid, they just feel like, hey, if they can get that rest too, they'll do it. It ain't really all about the game no more. Guys It's all about the paycheck, and the guys who paved the way for him is looking at it, and a lot of them look at like Shaquille O'Neal and some of the other guys who call them haters. But still, you guys are out there making all that money, the money that they didn't make at the time, and they paved the way for you guys. And you look at it like it's a joke, and you half-ass playing the game.
Well, see, Hugh, I think it's a few things. One, like you said, the love of the game is no longer there with a lot of these players. A lot of these things they deal with in terms of injury or not, these are business decisions. You
Yeah,
know, me and you walk around injured pretty much every day of our life, and we still manage to do what we need to do. Now, granted, we're not athletes running back and forth everywhere. I get that. But in the same token, I'm looking at it like, okay, there are people that pay their good hard earned money to come see y'all play every night. And, you know, with no disrespect to the people on the bench, we ain't come for them. We ain't come to see you, Otis. We came to see LeBron and them. So when LeBron and them talking about, yeah, my knee hurt, but then the next night when they at the good town in Miami, LA, they make sure they play them games. But when you come to basic town A like Detroit or Indiana or Portland, suddenly you injured for that night. That's BS, man. That ain't even cool. That and the fact that let's face the facts, you NBA season starts what, late October? It ends somewhere around April, 82 games. In this day and age of TikTok and all that, that's too many games, bruh. Ain't nobody got the patience for that, especially when half them games gonna be you going out there shooting up about 6,000 threes, playing hardly no defense, and not really seeming to care about winning from night to night. You know what I'm saying?
and then that
How
stupid
many of these
thing.
games you done seen early on? You the few games that you done seen? Cause I know I ain't seen that many either. Where okay, look, they be getting blew out by 30. I ain't even trying to be bothered no more. I'm turning this boy off.
I don't
And
like.
here's another problem I think we got, Hugh. Most of your NBA games, what stations they come on? They come on NBC, they come on ABC, they come on CBS. I can answer that for you. Nope. Most of these early games, what stations they come on? TNT, NBA TV, so on and so forth. So if they're not readily available for us to watch, why are we gonna bother? The reason why the NFL is king right now is because most of the games you're gonna find where you NBC, ABC, network TV, where you ain't got to go through no hoops or pay no extra money to see them. That's why I feel like the NFL is going in the wrong direction with starting to put all this stuff on Amazon and Prime and all that. I think that's going to cost them some of their viewership.
I believe that's a big problem now because some people don't have Prime, so they can't see the Thursday games, and then some people don't have ESPN, and at a certain amount of time, I remember before they just didn't have it on Channel Seven, but then they start to put the Monday night games on Seven, a certain amount of games before they force you to pay for ESPN or ESPN Plus or whatever streaming network they have it on, but. I just don't really feel like that's really the case right now. They need to continue to keep everything local, and if they do that, I still feel like they'll be okay. But once they start going to the Netflix and going everywhere else, if they continue that and start letting them get all the streamers from like channel 247 or 62, then I definitely believe they'll lose a lot of viewers, man. Because it's financially right now, people can't afford all that, man. But I'm
Right.
willing to
And of
miss
course,
away.
you talking about our local stations, but basically we talking about network TV where you just turn on your TV and there it is, the air channels that you get.
Hmm.
I mean, back in the day, NBA, that's what it was. I mean, even though back in the day, a lot of it was tape delayed, it still came on network TV, so you was more likely to watch it. But yeah, I think that is the issue, and I think it's going to continue. Not to mention, like I said, the quality of the game, because I think it would be real interesting right now if the WNBA was actually playing now with everything else going on. How many more people would watch the WNBA as opposed to the NBA? And a few years ago, I would sound crazy even saying that, but you feel what I'm saying.
I don't like the fact that they had a playing game too, or the tournament games and all that stupid
Tournament is
shit.
trash. We just said that.
That's the worst thing that they could have did right now, man. Because it's like, yeah, you still got win and loss on your record, but like last year, LA won the tournament, and when they won, what did that result into? They didn't win the big game. They didn't win the championship. So the in season champion, what does that even really mean? That just
Right.
lets
I
you
mean,
know.
because think about it. One of the top teams in this year's play-in tournament, whatever it is the Pistons. And we know the Pistons is trash. What if they mess around and win the tournament? Is that gonna make us care more about the tournament, or more than likely less?
I sure as heck ain't watching this, so it didn't even matter to me. It's sad too because I don't really feel like it's nothing going on in there worth me looking at right now. I mean, you've seen some flashes and good things that happen. Like right now, Trey Young is doing well. He averaged like he had 2 games where he had over 20 assists, and you pay attention to things like that. But long as this crazy tournament is not even relevant on, you'll see stuff, but you're not gonna see it like personally and live and then
I mean, bottom
you
line, we
watching it.
are deep in the midst of football season, and it's more people like you that's gonna say, "Okay, I got football on, I got NBA. Which one you watching, Hugh?"
Never NBA.
That's my point. All right, what else you got, brother?
I want to talk about some of the girls' games that's coming up that I definitely wasn't really paying that much attention to. I seen some of the games, but then I didn't see all of them until I started strolling around and I looked and I seen some of them and I said, man, we got some really strong games that's coming up with the women soon too, man. One of them that I saw was Tennessee versus Iowa. I definitely want to see that one because my homegirl's playing and I definitely feel like with her this year, she gonna get off, man. But I just really didn't feel like at first a lot of the games was like challenging. But then when I had to look at it, it's been more upsets than women's than it has been in men's right now. So yeah, I definitely been looking at some of the marquee matchups right now, and yeah, I feel like that's where it's at. It's gonna be some real strong competition, and it already has been some strong games. Like when UCLA beat South Carolina, I didn't see that coming. So yeah, it's a lot of parity right now, and it's early because I don't think no team is going to go undefeated. And I've been saying that about South Carolina. Now I feel like that's the monkey off their back. But then they still look good though, regardless. And I'm still, regardless of that one loss, I still feel like they playing good because I thought that they were going to have problems against Iowa State, and they beat the brakes off of those girls. So there's some teams that they played and they bullied, but right now it's like they got to figure out what they need to do against UCLA. But the one thing I'm not happy about is Donna State is not giving my homegirl, Malaysia Fawali, more opportunities right now when they really need her. Right now, they could use her more than ever, and it seems like they don't give her the playing time she deserves.
Okay, well, let me talk about that one for a minute. Keep in mind, y'all, back say 4 years ago, before there was an NIL, before it was a transfer portal, this would not be as big an issue. Granted, somebody like a Fawali might have considered transferring, but because you had to go through so many different hoops to get transferred, not to mention the fact that you would have to take that whole year off before you was able to play with your new team, you kind of thought about all those things, said, well, I guess I just have to ride out where I'm at. Now, in this day and age of NIL and whatnot, keeping in mind that Fuwali is one of the higher paid people in women's college basketball in terms of NIL. You got to say, okay, you not playing me is costing me money. These are now business decisions as opposed to before where it's like, okay, well, I'm just a sophomore, blah, blah, blah. Now, understand Dawn Staley is one of the best coach in the country, without question. Three-time national champion. You got to give her respect and her flowers. But in the same token, when you get a player that is dynamic like Fuwali, you kind of got to let her do her. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like she is trying to mold her into more of a guard like she was in the WNBA. That was pretty much less flashy, more defense, point guard first. That's not Fuwali's game. You got to work with the clay that you was given. Now, understanding that you're trying to make them a better player, but in the same token, that kid Fuwali different. You got to let her be flashy. Let her do her. They felt that way about Magic Johnson in certain places, and you
Yeah,
see how
they
well that
hated
worked
him.
out for him.
They hated him at one point. You remember they was like they don't like all that fan. Jerry West even said it as the coach. I don't like all that fancy stuff he doing. Man, all Magic did with that,
I mean,
he
they
did
say
his
that
stuff.
about the great Pistol Pete Maravich. You know what I'm saying?
At least we can say Magic got some titles out of that too, man. And this is weird,
Absolutely.
man. They don't like change. Everybody likes tradition, but sometimes you got to go with the change, man. Everything ain't gonna be the same, and that's why.
Right. And not to mention the fact, you got to kind of make your adjustments. I'm seeing that of course my great hero Gino Oriema, he's doing that with his UConn squad. Normally he would not like a player that is going to be shooting a lot. That is a low post player, but keep in mind he has the number one recruited freshman in the country, Sarah Strong, and that's her game. She could shoot it from anywhere, and she's a very good shooter. So normally, if that was going on, Gino would be like, "Oh no, freshie, hit the bench." But he let her play her game. This is his evolution because 10 years ago he probably wouldn't have did that. Take Maya Moore, for example, when she was with UConn. She was very much a player like Sarah Strong, but that freshman year, you ain't doing all that. Get your butt in the back. Not only is Sarah doing that, but he's starting her. You see what I'm saying? Maybe that's something that Dawn could learn in this situation.
She had
Let
a strong
her, I mean,
game too when
you
the other girls
see
didn't.
another person making them type of adjustments is your girl Kim Mulkey over at LSU. We were talking about that the other day, how that kid known as Fly J. Johnson, she is definitely playing a whole nother level of basketball this season. And I feel like it's because Kim is like, okay, this is your squad now. Let you get loose. As opposed to last year when she was basically playing second fiddle to Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith. What's your thoughts on that, Hugh?
I think the best thing that could have happened is Haley Van Left leaving because that wasn't a part of her game neither. They wanted her to be more of a guard and traditional guard when she's more of a shooting guard. I don't really know. I think that she's doing more like the traditional point guard over there at TCU, but they give her a little more freedom than what Kim Mulkey was doing. But yeah, I feel like Flo J right now, that's the best situation for her. But then I had to think about it too, E. By her sticking around for that long and doing what she did over there with that roster, I'm starting to look at it and saying, damn, it's like most coaches are coaching their team like that, where they're giving more loyalty to their juniors and seniors versus the freshmen and the sophomores. But at this point, man, you need to let that girl get loose because if you don't, she's going to find somewhere else to go.
Right, and remember, we got to give the coaches a little grace because this NIL deal is new for both of us. It's new for us, the fans, and for them, the coaches, and they still trying to figure out how to navigate this thing to where they don't alienate the new players coming in, but they still show respect for the players that's been with the program. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of that too. But like I said, it's so many good women's players out here now, and the fact that they're about to expand the WNBA to where a lot of them don't have to go overseas to play; they actually could play at home and be superstars here in the states. So I'm definitely seeing more of that. And like I said, with NIL being what it is, it's a lot of these secondary schools like a Iowa State or like a Harvard even, where they got one of the leading scorers in the country where those players probably wouldn't even play at those schools before, but because they had that skill set and they getting that NIL money and they get more exposure on TV, they are more likely not only to stay, but they do their thing and they playing a lot more marquee matchups as a result. Iowa State is one of those teams he's talking about in terms of marquee basketball matchups. They're gonna play UConn, they're gonna play USC, you get to see Audie Crooks, where maybe a couple years ago you wouldn't see a player like her, but maybe once or twice a year.
Definitely love all the crooks too, but then what we were saying that we're not trying to body shame her, man. But we know once you get in the WNBA, she's going to have that endurance to even play, and she's going to definitely have to work on that. One person I definitely like that did that is my homegirl Alyssa Pelly, man, because she was pretty. She wasn't as big though than all the crooks, but when you could tell how small she is now, man. She really got smaller during the season. I can't wait to see her next season, man. But yeah, she's gonna have to get in a little better shape when she go there. She got a little time, so it's not really that much of an issue. But yeah, man, I love to see her play, man. By her being her size too, she bully other players, man. But yeah, I definitely like her game.
Okay, well, yeah, let me throw a few names out there for you guys to check out in these next couple of weeks as we see some of those. And the great thing about a lot of these marquee matchups we're talking about, they're going to be on network television. So again, you're not going to search your ESPN Plus and all that. A lot of these games coming on CBS and ABC and NBC and Peacock, stuff that you can easily get access to. So I think you will appreciate that more. Of course, we all know about young Juju Watkins. Juju got off last night. See that, you?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they played Ukabuka California Baptist, but still, though, 40 points on a college level, that's still impressive.
You can't definitely slip on these teams neither, man. Because the night when you feel like you better than them and just go out there and go through the motions, you can lose too. So yeah, man, you gotta handle business, especially when it's a team like that. If they're gonna give you an expedition game, you take full advantage of it and get your stats up.
Right. Then you got people, of course, like Fly J. Johnson. We talked about her. LSU, of course, my girl Paige Beckers, Paige Buckets, doing her thing. You know, she only had 11 points last night, but the thing about Paige that you gotta like is that she kind of plays in the realm of whatever the game is. You know what I'm saying? If the game don't really require her to do a lot of shooting, she won't. If she basically wants to incorporate her teammates more to kind of get the game flowing that way, she's willing to do that. She is a very unselfish player. It drives her coaches crazy, but if you really appreciate the game like me and Hugh do, you'll see that, that's the type of player. Like I said, I honestly feel like this. I don't know if Hugh agrees or not, that when Paige gets to the league, barring injury, she's going to be a better player than Caitlin Clark. I really do believe that.
Hopefully, she will have a lot more to work with too, man. If she go to the Sparks, though, man, she definitely will. A lot of people sleeping on that. Cameron Brink was injured last year. Just imagine if she would have been healthy, I definitely think they would have had a bigger chance to go to the playoffs too. I
Right,
really like to see her over there versus anywhere else. That's my
right. And it wasn't the only injury the Sparks had. I definitely see them being a playoff team next year with a healthy Brink, not to mention the other home girl. I can't think of her name at the moment.
Tambi,
Not Camby, but the other rookie that
Nakia.
played Rakia, exactly. Detroit's finest. Another player that you might want to check out for is, of course, Olivia Miles. Hugh could tell you about Olivia Miles for a minute.
Olivia Miles. She like the woman version of Horace Grant with them gargles. That's what I call her. But man, she's scrappy. She one of the best resilient people I've seen in basketball right now. And then you got to think about Hidalgo too, man. I think it was kind of
Hannah Hidalgo, absolutely. Puerto Rico's own.
and Hannah Doggo is good, man. But I think it was a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, the Olivia Miles got hurt last year because then you could see her center stage and see what she got. And now they're even more dangerous for both of them two on the floor. But yeah, I like her game, man. She's a real scrappy chick, man. I just hope that she stay and finish over there too, because Notre Dame got something brewing over there. That's a really solid team.
Yeah, like I said, definitely shout out to Coach Ivy. For those of you familiar with that name, of course, Coach Ivy is the mother of Piston guard Jaden Ivy, and she's doing a great job as the head coach of Notre Dame over there. But like I said, definitely for those of you who are looking to see some of the better players in college basketball, also let us shout out that Iowa program and your girl Stokey over there.
Yeah.
They will be on TV this weekend as well. You might want to check that out as they play Tennessee, two undefeated teams. I think it's going to be a really good game. That Tennessee program, remember, Tennessee almost beat South Carolina last year.
Yeah.
It's
And
now
they
that
still
last 3 minute buzzer beater by the great one, Miss Cardosa.
I still couldn't believe that, man. Man, I turned that game off, man. She made that three, and I looked back, I said, ain't no way.
Right. So hopefully we'll get some nice moments like that. And like I said, you'll get games like that throughout this particular month. So, check on your feed and see where these games are. And of course, if me and he was watching them and we think about it for a minute, we'll definitely post that on the timeline. Okay, we got this game going. Check it out, y'all. And of
Then
course, he will throw some of those reels up after the fact.
yeah, that Texas versus Notre Dame, I didn't even really peep that one, man. Was
Right.
this
And shout
again?
out to that kid Rory Harmon. She's a baller on that Texas squad that you definitely want to keep out for she'll definitely be in the WNBA someday.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of North Carolina anymore, man. I was a huge fan, but then when Deja Kelly left, man, I left, man. That messed up my confidence right there because that was my homegirl, and I had faith in that team, even though I think that they got bullied by a lot of the other teams like the South Carolinas and stuff. But that was one of them chicks who never backed down, and she played her game. But I wasn't too happy to see her slip off and go to Oregon, man. But I think she looked at it too like she had a better chance of winning. I can't really be mad at North Carolina and that organization. I got to look at it like she felt like, man, what are my chances winning here in North Carolina? And that's why she did what she did. So I had to respect her decision to going to Oregon.
Right. Then of course, for USC, they got that kid Aya Friend, the girl that transferred from Stanford. Her and Juju, they're a good combination. Talk a little bit about what you saw at that UCLA squad with Lauren Betts.
Man, I just think that team is strong, man. I didn't know they was
They
that
are
big.
the number one ranked team in the country right now.
they're bullies over there. And that's what I love about them because I didn't think that they were going to end up. I thought they was going to be okay. But I didn't think they was going to be as good as they are right now, man. And Caval, their rookie, man, they said that nobody put up bigger numbers than her since my man's Anthony Davis did, man. And like grabbing the rebounds and the points, differential. And they said the only time that a person made that big of a splash on a team and that early too with a team, that was more or less further off in the season too, like around the tournament time with Anthony Davis. So she doing this now. So just imagine, man.
And keep in mind, her being a junior next year, she gets to play with her younger sister. That's one of the top 20 ranked girls in the country right now. So that's gonna make UCLA even more of a threat next year. Sierra is her name, Sierra Betts. But like I said, going into the conference play, normally SEC seems to kind of take over a lot of the college sports and turn to the conference, but you definitely got to be mindful of the Big Ten this year when it comes to college women's basketball with USC, UCLA, Michigan and Michigan State both ranked right now. Maryland's ranked. It's going to be a lot of good games. Don't forget about Iowa, of course.
People definitely can't forget about Michigan, man. I didn't know that they were going to be that good last year. So they're under the radar. So that's why I like it, man. We're going to talk about being under the radar and loving under the radar with Michigan teams in a minute. But before we get into that, man, I definitely like the women's basketball too and what they were doing. They got a really solid team, and don't be surprised, y'all. And I might be sounding like I'm crazy if they go to the Elite Eight or further. So yeah, I definitely feel like I'm that confident in the Michigan team right now.
Right. I mean, let me ask you one question before we move on from the women's basketball. As you know, with women's basketball, college, you got to wait till your senior year, at least be 21, in order to enter the draft. Based on the talent level that we're seeing now, do you think they will eventually change that rule and make it to where it's like the men, where based after your freshman year, you could be up out?
I hope they don't do the freshman year with the women. I would like to at least see. And then, that's just me being picky. We had this topic going. We had this, topic come around before, and we discussed
Exactly.
it. And I was saying that I like what Barkley said when he said to at least have them play 3 years. But then, sometimes it might not work out like that, because some people don't have it that good, man, financially, and they need to go out and try to make some money for their family right away, man. A lot of them guys, when they do play, they're supporting their family. So as far as the women's part of it, um, I might not say a freshman, but at least a junior, man. So
I
I
mean, if
feel
anything,
pushing neither.
I would like them to reconsider the men and put them in the same boat as the women, considering now that we got NIL deals where you ain't got to be as pressed to make the money right away. If you one of the better players in the country, you probably gonna get you a decent NIL deal to where you can stay in school and develop your game and not come out early like say a Bronny James, for instance.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, granted, that's a special case. We understand all that, but you understand what I'm saying.
That's a very special case.
But yeah, let's keep the party going, Hugh. What else we talking?
I want to go ahead and I want to shift into a few things that are college, man. Definitely want to get into college right now because I think this is probably, man, I don't know, man, maybe I'm exaggerating when I told you this, E. But I really think this is one of the best rivalry weeks in a long time, man. I don't know. Do you think they're gonna ban the flag planting after everything that happened too? Because it's been a lot of scraps, man. It was crazy going down. Like whoever won and they try to stake that flag, man, that's what caused a lot of fights. And most times you would just, as a losing team, just be like, okay, I respect that. We got to get them next year. Now everybody turning this into an all-out war. I want to know what was your thoughts on some of them upsets, man? Because a lot of them upsets I definitely didn't see coming.
Well, understand that's the one beautiful thing about college football, that you have rivalry week, and rivalry week is probably the best week in college football outside of any playoffs or bowl games because of the long-standing rivalries that you have with teams. Understand, if you are a person who lives in a certain state where they have a rivalry, and most states do, that usually you have a choice one way or the other. Granted, I went to Eastern Michigan, but yeah, I've been a Michigan fan way before I even knew what an Eastern was. You see what I'm saying? And there's other people that grew up in households where, oh yeah, we only do Sparty stuff here. We don't do that, but understand if you from Michigan, you don't do O State. You just don't do it. More times than I refer to them as a team down south. Just like if you're a person that grew up in Ohio, you refer to us as that team up north. You don't even say our name. We don't like each other that much. So understand part of the flag thing that's a big issue this week is the fact that it was those two teams because that's the game that we always see on TV. That is one of the biggest rivalries, not only in college football, but in sports, period. Everybody know Michigan versus Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't watch sports, even if you're just a casual sports watcher. So for it to end the way that it did, with my Wolverines being triumphant, you know what I'm saying? Handling their proper business and whatnot. Hold on a second. I got to do something about that there. Give it up for my Wolverines, y'all. You know what I'm saying? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. We handle big. That part. But anyway, depending on what talking head you talk to, what coach you talk to, they seen it one way or the other. One, okay, we doing too much. It shouldn't be about all that. You won the game, shake hands, and go on back in your little locker room. And some people was like, okay, you don't want them to plant the flag on your floor or in your ground. Play better. Win the game. That way you ain't got to worry about it. I'm kind of in the middle of it myself. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, I understand why it caused the disturbance and all of that. And we don't want that in the sport. We don't want it to get to where, okay, let's just say, remember, those kids that's on that football field, they're 18 to 21 years old, one, but also those kids also have friends in the stands. You know what I'm saying? That could have got way uglier than it did. I done seen my brother and them fighting. Now I see the police macing them. That's still my brother, you know what I'm saying? That's still my teammate, my roommate, my person I go to class with. Oh no, I'm about to get involved. Then it could have got really, really ugly. So I see the points on both sides, but in the end, I want us to have fun. It is a game in the end. But yeah, I think we kind of taking it a little too far. I definitely think starting next year there will definitely be some type of there'll definitely be some type of fine or what have you when these things happen.
I definitely felt like this wouldn't even happen if it was the other way around. Just believe you me, if Ohio State won, it wouldn't have been this issue. It was just the fact this was a down year for Michigan. They felt like they had no reason beating them, and Michigan went in there and they kept them under. We was losing. We didn't even have our best cornerback in the game. We still won, so that's the volume.
We had no real quarterback in the game, and we still won.
Man, tell me about it. That one when he threw that pick on the goal line, man. It was just a lot of bad things that happened in that game. But I was surprised about when they got the stops and then they did what they did necessary to pull out that game. That really surprised me, man. It was really a crazy situation because we was like, man, we trying to see what happened. We hope Michigan can make it a good game and don't get embarrassed. And at the same time, they held their own. Not only did they hold their own, but they beat those guys in Ohio State. So, yeah, that was definitely a crazy scene. And it was fun to watch, especially when you're on the winning end.
I mean, because in the end, yeah, it was a few upsets this weekend, but clearly that was the biggest one of all. No doubt about it. Michigan team that didn't have no business even coming close to winning that game actually won that game. You know what I'm saying? I got to ask the question that everybody else been asking in regards to the game as well. We already know, as a head coach, Ryan Day is 66-10 right now overall. But for those 10 losses, Michigan Wolverines. Should he keep his job?
I would be surprised at the end of the year if he do. I know a lot of people are already calling him former Ohio State on, man. Beanie Wells is like, yeah, it's time for him to go ahead and they need to get rid of him because they didn't feel like he did enough, man. And like you said, man, Michigan in their head, dude, because you lost those games, especially this one. Yeah, Michigan in their head. I think it's time for them to move on. I wouldn't want to even go and wait another year now. I feel like if you couldn't do nothing with him this year, man, what makes you think you're gonna do something with him next year when you get Bryce Underwood and the regular because that's all I really felt like we were really missing was a solid, consistent quarterback. Man, the defense played well, the offense wasn't too bad. I still feel like they should get some better receivers. But other than that, man, if with a better quarterback, I think it'd have been a little better, man. We probably would have been like maybe 3 losses, 4 at tops. But then I still feel like, man, they need to do better. They got to do much better. Ohio State is always they always look at them like being one of the teams that's going to be in the playoffs, which they still will be in the playoffs. But yeah, that loss right there, man, that hurts, man. Especially because in a way that was like a game for us. That wasn't our championship game. We'll be in the bowl game, but yeah, it was like, man, we can't get in there, man. Let's spoil Ohio State chances.
All right, let me be the voice of reason for the team that I hate. Check this out. No, I do not feel Ryan Day should be fired. I could look at this one of two ways. One, of course, I don't want that dude to get fired. He loses us every time. I love that. I lived through so many years of us taking that L and getting the butt whooping. Remember, Hugh, once upon a time, not too long ago,
Lost 8 straight.
they said that Michigan had an Ohio problem and that Harbaugh couldn't get it done. And
Hmm.
they wanted to fire him, even though he had one of the better records in college football and all he's done everywhere he's been is win. They still wanted to get rid of him because he couldn't beat Ohio State. Eventually, he figured some stuff out, didn't he? So much so that not only did we beat Ohio State, but we went on and won a national championship. Even though some people said we cheated. Don't even get me started on that BS. Anyway, let me look at it from this standpoint. 66-10, bro. You gonna fire a dude that went 66-10? That basically only lost, what is it, 5 games in the Big Ten conference, period, in 4 or 5 years? You ain't gonna find too many people that can pull that off, okay? You fire that dude, you gonna replace him with who? Who, Nick Saban? That ain't happening.
No, he comfortable where he at right now.
Right. What you gonna bring old boy back to Ohio State? You know that's not happening. Uh
Brian Kelly.
it's not too many coaches that's gonna do a better job than what Ryan Day has done with that program. Not to mention, because of NIL and whatnot, they just spent their share of money in order to beat Michigan. They'll spend more. They'll come up with more though. They'll make things happen. But here's my whole thing. All that being said, my team is going to Okie Doke Bowl, Sunchip Bowl, whatever it is. Ohio State's still going to the playoff and might smurf around and win the whole darn thing. If that dude won a national championship, you still gonna fire him for not beating Michigan?
That could probably save his job. The only thing that can save his job is he can win.
Not only should that save his job, that shouldn't even be an argument anymore.
But
Yeah, he
if
didn't beat
they don't,
Michigan, but we won the chip. Damn
if
a
they
Michigan.
don't, they probably be looking in another direction.
All right, that's my thoughts. What else we got?
South Carolina beat number 12 Clemson, man. I think that was crazy because at first I was like, man, that might hurt their chances, which I definitely believe it did. But what do you feel about them guys? Even after the loss, it was funny how Syracuse ended up having a upset too against Miami and still got them dudes in the championship game or the ACC championship, man. That was some crazy events because I was like, that might have been it for Dabo, but I still feel like Dabo might have a chance depending on what happened this weekend, but you never know, man. They already got to seem like everything's planted in stone right now and what they're going to do. But yeah, that was two big swings and turn of events right there, man.
It's not too late for Dabo. I'm hoping that in seeing how things went this season and realizing that if I did hit the transfer portal and got a few of them NIL people, we probably in the playoffs solid right now with a very good chance to win the chip. With him having that understanding, and hopefully the people at South Carolina, I mean the people at Clemson do as well, then yeah, next year should be a good year for Clemson. Because they obviously still have some good talent on that roster.
They do.
As far as South Carolina, they in the SEC, man. I think you're gonna have an advantage moving forward if you're an SEC team when it comes to making the playoff or not. I really feel like from this point forward, Hugh, it's gonna be okay. How do I make the playoff? If I'm in the SEC, I got a few extra points. If I'm in the Big Ten, I got a couple extra points. If I'm Notre Dame, I got a couple extra points. Because like it or not, y'all, as long as Notre Dame stay 2 wins or less, I mean 2 losses or less, they're gonna be automatically in from now on. Period. I said it at the beginning of the season. I'm saying it now. They was already in before they wasn't. They had to play their way out. Everybody else had to play their way in. That being said, it's certain programs. You automatically get extra points for that. Let Michigan come back next year and have 2 losses. They in. Ohio State automatically in with 2. Teams like a Oregon, teams like a LSU, teams like a Alabama, teams like a Georgia. 2 losses or less, you in. If you make it to the SEC title game, because I honestly feel like it don't matter who win between Texas and Georgia. Both them teams automatically in because they
Yeah,
in the SEC, and 2, they made it to the championship game. Same with the Big Ten, like it or not. Penn State, I honestly feel like should not be in this playoff. They still gonna be in it whether they win or lose this game because it's the Big Ten. Because once you get past Big Ten and SEC, everything else is on a lower level. And once you get past ACC and Big 12, everything on a much lower level. Like it or not.
definitely. I feel like right
That's why
now,
we go back to that argument we always have, you that at some point, I think it's going to be 2 different championships. One for between whoever win the SEC and Big Ten, and one for everybody else.
how do you feel about one of the classic games, man? It was already crazy because I looked at it and I still watch Friday games. I don't care who playing. That's just me when it comes to football. But damn, they had some really good games on Friday, but none of them was better than the last game that night with Georgia Tech versus Georgia. That was one of the craziest games. And I was like, damn, where was the defense at? But then I couldn't complain because the more they didn't have defense, the more excited it was. Have you ever heard of a game going into 8 overtimes though, man? I've never heard that. But then the play and just it should have been like Georgia Tech should have won that game. They just made too many mistakes and made enough mistakes to where they just basically let Georgia take over that game. But still, it was a good game, and that just made me respect Georgia Tech even more. Because remember, at the beginning of the year, they beat Florida State, and then I was
And
like,
we thought that was a big deal at the time, but it really wasn't.
absolutely. And now look at these guys, man. They damn near beat Georgia, and they would have really had problems if they would have lost that game. But yeah, I feel like it's a high ceiling for Georgia Tech, man. And just was really glad I was a part of watching that game.
And understand, even if they had lost that game to Georgia Tech, I still say they would have got into the playoffs.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
just like I said, certain teams they just gonna have them couple extra bonus points. Remember, people, it's about 2 things with these playoffs. One, they want to get 12 good teams, not even the 12 best teams, mind you, 12 good teams, and they also want 12 brands. In other words, people, oh, Georgia in there? Yeah, I'm gonna watch. Because think about it, Hugh. We in the playoffs, and let's say it go down to Boise State versus SMU. Is you trying to watch that?
not really, not at all.
You will, because you. But I'm talking about basic person. Hey, ain't nobody trying to see that for a championship game. Don't nobody know Boise State like that, like that.
No,
SMU, please. So if the playoffs start to work out that way, that's one thing. But in the end, people expecting it to be like Alabama against Ohio State or Georgia, somewhere these brands that we know as college football. If you want to know people, what type of teams people are going to look to watch, all you need to do is go on your TikTok or go on your Twitch and see who people been playing with in that college football 25. Them same teams you see everybody always play with, them the teams that you trying to watch.
absolutely. Right now, that's what they were saying too. One of the guys said it was just more like a beauty contest almost, man. They said that whichever teams that makes the money and whatever is the big name teams people are going to see, like the Alabamas, and a lot of people were like, well, damn, that's not right that Miami's not in it. But they want to see the teams with the big names and the more popular teams to play versus the teams that's not that popular.
Right, the teams that's going to travel well, where 20 or 30,000 of their fans are going to go to Tempe, Arizona, or Pasadena, California, and spend their money. You know what I'm saying?
I still feel like it's going to be an upside for Alabama too. Remember, man, I'm the type of person would have been dogging them last year around this time. Like I can't believe they
Still
lost.
dogging them a little bit, Hugh. Let's be honest.
Nah, nah.
But no, I think you're not dogging them as much because you're starting to see what I'm seeing now. This different. This ain't the college football that we used to. We starting to understand the new era.
And then my man's and how he recruit too. I definitely feel like they're going to have even higher syllabus in the next years or so because
They are one of the top 10 recruited teams in the country right now.
sad to say, I cannot wait for my man's Jalen Milroe to get the hell out of Dodge. You know, I wasn't really a big fan of that dude, and I stuck by that. That's the best thing I believe is going to happen. Please let him go to the NFL. I feel like we can do much better.
Well, it's crazy because I know if I gave you the choice between him and Bryce Young, you would take Bryce Young, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just not no big Bryce Young fan myself, but you know, I get what you're saying.
He been putting in a lot of work right now, man. So, you know, he might not be the guy that you like, man, but you got to respect him. But then that's the way I am about Jalen Milroe, too, man. I was like, his legs are great. You know, he throw a pretty deep ball, but you can't hit a guy on the 5 yard slant if it kills you.
Best Alabama quarterback in the NFL right now is
Maybe Tua.
you say Tua?
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I go with Jalen.
Yeah, damn.
I go with Jalen Hurts myself, but just the fact that you have multiple choices makes it a good thing.
We can't even say that, man. As much as it hurt me, man. Alabama spurned that dude, and he ended up going to Oklahoma. You know,
he still started out in Alabama.
Yeah, I would say he more like a Lincoln Riley product, though, because they did him dirty. I still don't like how they did my man Jalen.
Another story for another day. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, like I said, rivalry week, it was everything that we wanted and then some. You know, granted, I'm to the point now, it's that time of year. So if you're not in this 12 or close to this 12, I really don't care what you're doing, with that one exception. I am looking forward to the game we've been looking forward to all year, Hugh, Army-Navy.
That game, I definitely was going to watch that regardless, but I definitely want to see what Army going to do. I definitely hope that they step the game up because, yeah, they didn't lose a lot of games this year. They actually only lost one, but I really want to see what they do now since they're the team to beat. Most times we talked about Navy and barely talked about Army. And now Army changing the directions. It seems like the last 2 years Army been getting wins, man. And now they got a really good team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in that game as well. And I think
but that goes back to my point. You said how many games did Army lose?
They lost most of the games, man, when they played.
No, I'm talking about this year. Army lost how many games?
One game.
Shouldn't they be in this playoff right now? But they ain't. That's my point. Ain't nobody trying to see Otis. Ain't nobody trying to see Army in no playoff. You see what type of brand of football they play? It's a very tough and scrappy brand for us who have played football. We appreciate it, but in terms of watching that on TV, ain't nobody trying to see that. All they do is run.
Yeah, they barely throw, man. So, yeah, it's not really too exciting, but it is hard-nosed football.
Right. Like I said, again, go back to the teams you watch people play with college football. It seemed like, okay, you want to throw people off? Yeah, pick Army. Play with that playbook. You see what I'm saying? That seemed like a good strategy to me, but that's boring. Ain't nobody trying to see that. Ain't nobody trying to watch that on the Twitch.
Yeah, I want to move on, and I want to talk about the Thanksgiving NFL games and just talk about NFL in general. If you
Let's
want,
do it, man.
We can. You want to do it now, or you want to go and do a commercial?
Well, you know that might be tricky.
Okay.
With this new thing, but okay, y'all, we're gonna attempt this commercial break because we still working out some of the buttons and whatnot. It's like a new toy, and we ain't hooked everything up. But anyway, we're gonna do that, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk NFL. This is the Guru Sports Session. That's that dude, Hugh Lee, E-Buck. We do look good though. Shout out to E-Muck. Y'all got this screen. We popping in this book. All right.
Clearest I've ever seen it.
Here we go.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my T-steppers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And your dishes, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love. All right, y'all, we back mainly because them the only two commercials we got in the system right now. Apologies to our girl Road to Stardom. You know, we love playing your commercial. Once we figure out how to put that in here, we got you. Fear not. You know we love you, Road. But anyway, we are back to talk about the sport known as NFL. So I'm gonna pop that on the screen and you can get us cracking.
Man, I want to talk about the first game, man. I wasn't feeling to the point where I was super excited anyway. I was telling people on any given Thursday or Sunday or Monday that any team could beat another team, man. And a lot of people I've seen on like Woodward Ave Sports and different sports media was saying how we were just gonna stomp that team, and they gave the Vikings a run for their money. It was just a field goal block and different things of that nature, man. The Hail Mary, they just had bad fortunes over there in Chicago. And I say, I don't care who you is, man. Just like when I was a fan of any of my favorite teams, Alabama, you name them, I never underestimate a team because you never know. You can come out sleeping and you can lose that game. So at that point, I was like, man, don't sleep on the Bears, man. We go out there and don't play well, we can, really put ourselves in the bind. And at first, it was looking good, man. We had the game. We were up 16-0, and it looked like we was going to score again. And that one play changed the momentum when my man Jahmyr Gibbs ended up fumbling the ball. Yeah, they didn't score anything on that play, but that stopped us from scoring. Once that happened and it got into the second half, it was like Chicago found something, man, and they were clicking. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of players, too, at that time. And when that happened, that just made it a little easier for Chicago, and they crept right back into the game. And what made me nervous was when it was 16-23, and then it was 20 to it was, what was it, like 20-13? That's what it was. It was 20-13, and they scored. I said, oh man, they tied this game. Damn, what are we gonna do? They went down, and what made me upset, and I know you probably may or may not agree with me. I don't know, man. I feel like not Jahmyr Gibbs, but Jameson Williams, man, I think he's a ticking time bomb right now. I don't know if they want to continue to put up with his antics, because it was several opportunities we had, and I seen a lot of calls missed, man, on both sides, but especially on the Lions side. So a few time delay penalties that wasn't thrown their way, and some holding penalties didn't go our way. But when it came down to that one play, man, we were driving, and we were about to drive and score, and the game would have been 30-20. And remember when he did that play and he got the first down, he threw the ball in the guy's face. Penalty. That took us back, man. It was like 1st and 22 or something crazy like that, and we didn't get that drive. I was disappointed, man, with that. But at the end of the game, though, it was just the poor time management on Chicago Bears timeline, because I thought that they would at least go and tie the game and take it into overtime. But I was surprised at the poor execution of Mac Eberflus. But they were saying that Caleb Williams changed the play. And rather than call the timeout to give him a chance, if you would have just at least had 19 seconds left, they had two opportunities. They one to win the game or either to kick the field goal. But they said, man, statistically, that has never really happened where a team got the ball past the 30-yard line, about to score the winning drive with a timeout. That not only did they get the play off or a couple of plays off, but didn't kick the field goal to tie the game. And that's why, unfortunately, I think, Matt Eberflus, I know that Matt Eberflus lost his job. And the final score was 23-20. And when I seen that game, I told my nephew and my brother-in-law, I said, man, he's gone after that, man. And they said, you think so? I said, I know so. You cannot be that poor when it comes to time management. and executing the play when you got a timeout. You could at least call and then kick that field goal, but he didn't do it. I mean, I'm not losing no sleep. We won the game, and that took us to 11-1. But still, man, I just felt like they gave him too many chances, and he laid in his bed, and now he got to take that heat, especially after what he said at the end of the game.
Poor Matt.
Mhm.
Now y'all know if you've been watching the show for these last several weeks, I done seen this coming a mile away. So much so did I not say you that I think Matt Eberflus lasts until this Thanksgiving Day game, and then he's gonna get fired after this game. I called this. I damn near think I called it at the beginning of the season, even that this is when I thought he was gonna get the plug pulled on him. And understand this, knowing for a fact that Chicago has never, ever, ever done this way before. They have never fired a coach in the middle of a season ever. And remember, Chicago Bears are one of the oldest teams in the National Football League. So the fact that even though I knew that, I still felt like it was going to happen because in the end, he is not a good manager of the clock. As a defensive coach, he is not good at either coaching offense or hiring the proper people to coach the offense. And most importantly, with them working with these younger players, him being a first time head coach, this was a match made in hell. It just wasn't going to work. Okay. I hate that the Bears took this long to figure it out. They should have fired that dude weeks ago. Matter of fact, he should have got fired after the failed
Yeah,
Hail Mary play weeks ago with the Commanders. Y'all remember that game? That should have been that. I mean, because we've seen that dude, Caleb Williams. He showed that even in that Lions game, that at times he got a great skill set. He is going to be a very good quarterback in this league with the proper tutelage, which he was not getting from Eberflus. Excuse me, y'all.
because he fired so many people on that staff too, man. He fired like the quarterback coach, and he was letting go a lot of people, man. And you know the offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, and I know he did that, and we already know those were scapegoats before he finally lost his job. But I think the guys in the big office, man, the GM, and you know the owner just got tired of it, man. And I think that it was well deserved though because yeah, you was getting too many chances. I think that they said that he's like 5-19 in games like where it was like a point or a little like 3 or 1 point games, like deciding. And it's just that if he could have executed better, because I think his final record, look it up, I might be wrong, but I think he was like 14-59, and he never really had a winning
It
season.
matters not. That dude is not going to get another head coaching gig. Not in this NFL. Nor should he. That being said, I'm more concerned, of course, about my Lions because we drop them like flies up in here. That injury report get longer and longer every week. Now, granted, it's giving some people the opportunity to revamp their careers by coming here and showing us what they got, and hopefully they will do just that. The people like Jamal Adams that we signed this week, for example, I'm hoping he still got a little bit left in the tank. I'm kind of interested to see what they do with him. There's talk that they might actually play him at linebacker.
Yeah, they
I
did that
kind
in
of want to
Seattle.
know what that looks like.
Yeah,
But that being said, we the Lions, we can't afford to get too many more people hurt. Not to mention the fact that we done won 10 in a row. We about due, truth be told. Remember, I said beginning of the season, I see us going 12-5. It looked like I'm wrong about that one, but no, we not winning all these other 5 games. We win all these other 5 games that we got left on the schedule. Not only are we going to the Super Bowl, we winning that, and I'm not gonna have no doubts about it. But I just don't see that happen.
I didn't see that happening. Like I'm going like 16-1 or nothing crazy like that either. You
No,
know, they're gonna have to have their losses, but yeah, them injuries definitely not looking too good right now because there was a lot of people out, and then the worst part about it is they had to play 3 games, like really like
12 days, yeah.
you know, and then now they have this game, but afterwards they're gonna get a little time off, you know, before they play the next game, which is gonna be a really huge game too with Buffalo Bills, but
Absolutely.
that can determine who's definitely going to be the MVP right now. It's definitely looking like Josh Allen's. And then you got Saquon Barkley to mention as well. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in that, man. I seen that one game with the Giants and the Cowboys too on Thanksgiving, and it was terrible, man. When you make Cooper Rush look good, then I knew it was a problem, man. I couldn't believe how bad that game was. But Malik Neighbors got off too, man. I feel like he deserved better, and I hope he gets better eventually.
Well, again, when you look at the worst teams in the National Football League, I got to put them right about there at this point. I've been dogging out on the Panthers, but they actually been playing better ball these last few weeks. The team I'm looking at playing the worst football right now is pretty much them. I mean, Eberflus, he gone. I don't know what they waiting on with Dayball. We know he got to go. He got to go.
You definitely gonna be next. The Cowboys won two straight, and everybody looking at them like, man, they 2 games under, man. They still have a chance. Nah, their chance is gonna run out eventually.
Man, it's the Cowboys. Y'all got to find some way to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's several people in the network. That's your squad. I'm sorry we dogging on your squad, but y'all know they cheeks this year. Come on, man. For real, for real.
And the Dolphins and the Packers game didn't surprise me because when I found out it was going to be in cold environment, I kind of figured that they were going to lose that game, and exactly that's what they did. They lost it in a bad fashion too. It was 30-17, but everybody's so high on the Dolphins, man. I'm not too high on the Dolphins myself right now.
I mean, the Dolphins got to figure out some way to get past that cold thing. That I think that's been a thing with them ever since the days of Dan Marino. And that dude grew up in Pittsburgh, so it ain't like he wasn't used to the cold. But it's something about being with the Dolphins and not playing well in cold weather environments. I don't know why that is. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful in Miami this time of year and all that. I get that, but y'all need to play with in the freezer or something during practice. Y'all got to figure that thing out some kind of way. Play with ice cubes in your draw or something, because that can't just keep being a problem.
But that's all I like what Bill Belichick used to do, man. When he knew it was going to rain and it was going to be a rain game, he used to make sure that he wet up the ball and let them play with it.
And
Like
play with the
it's
sprinklers on. Yep, I do remember that.
be the environment, so you got to get used to it. And
Yep.
yeah, they're gonna have to figure out something with Miami, man, because they just can't win when it's cold outside, man. They better get well, and it's funny too because they're always in hot weather, but then I don't even think that that's an excuse anymore because you're professional football players, so hopefully they can get it together. But yeah, man, Mike Daniels, man, Mike McDaniels, I like the way he coach and I like his style. He's a weird dude, but yeah, man, I'd be surprised if they continue to give him constant chances, man. He's going to have to do something or at least compete good enough with Buffalo to, keep his job as well. Because after like another year or so of this fiasco, yeah, it's starting to be time for his seat to get a little warm.
I like Coach Leonard though. Don't do that, Coach Leonard. He got to put up with Sheldon and all that. Another story. Anyway, they do like Leonard from Big Bang Theory. We didn't say that before, but anyway, what's next? Who else we got?
Aziz Alshire, man, suspended 3 games for the crazy hit that he put on my man's Trevor Lawrence, man. That dude, I found out just recently before we got on air that Trevor Lawrence definitely on IR after that hit, and he's gonna miss the next 4 games. That might be the end of his season, man. But
I mean, that is the end of this season.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. And then the fact is, man, they were beating the Texans at first. I think they could have beat them if Trevor Lawrence stayed in the game. But that hit was not necessary because he went to the ground and he was in a slide mode. My man's had his forearm and went straight to the head. I guess he started getting frustrated because how close the game was. And then after that, of course, the game, it didn't get out of hand. It was still close, but it was just the fact you took out their #1 quarterback, man. And yeah, at first I thought he was just going to get suspended 1 game. But do you think that it's like going overboard for him to be suspended 3 games? Because I think
no, because understand, Hugh, just the week before he had got fined for a dirty hit he did that week. He is a multiple offender. You know how that go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the NBA for a minute. You know what it is when that dude Draymond do to Draymond. At this point, if Draymond did something like that in the NBA, that dude probably missing the rest of the season. because he's a repeat offender. So it is with this guy. This is the third time this season alone that he's been fined or suspended for some type of dirty hit. He a dirty player at this point.
Pretty
That
much.
nigga's a Dominican Sue, flat out. And as a result, yeah, he got the 3 games and probably should have got more. I mean, understand, yeah, we always talk about how this NFL is soft and they overprotect the quarterbacks and whatnot. This is why. This is what you don't want. Trevor Lawrence makes 50 million plus, okay? Ain't nobody trying to see his backup play. When you go pay all your money for that NFL football game and parking and all that, you trying to see the real deal Holyfield. You don't want to see backup. Ain't nobody trying to see Mac Jones. Not for real. So yeah, he lucky that it was only 3 games and suspended with no pay. Because truthfully, for those people that had something to say about the other team jumping on him after he did that, Hugh, we can go back to PAL League. Somebody hit your quarterback like that, what you about to do?
Yeah, you getting jumped, man. The fans was throwing bottled waters at him outside the arena. It was crazy.
Did you not go to McKenzie High School in Detroit?
Yeah.
If that happened at McKenzie, what's about to happen, you?
Whole school getting involved.
People coming up out the stands and everything. You see what I'm saying? That's why you can't allow stuff like that to go on. Plain and
We
simple.
don't do that to none of my homeboys.
Right, and I went to Cody, so I can already tell you, not only is that going on, they about to pull out the fire and everything else. You don't want that. You don't want that in no NFL. You don't want Malice at the Palace jumping off.
And dudes in the hood gonna get involved because you know
Absolutely.
it's gonna get ugly.
Right.
That's
I mean,
what's
granted, you know, in an NFL stadium, all that ain't gonna transpire, but you get my point. You can't do that. That hit was just straight up dirty. You left the forearm and all. Now, yeah, they talking about, okay, well, quarterbacks need to slide different. Damn all that.
He was already in the slide mode. What else do they want?
Damn all that. You know how they be like, okay, well, they need to slide to where we know they about to slide. People moving fast. Hey, you just got to make adjustments, plain and simple. And at this point, that dude, he on the watch right now. He can't even afford to even think about doing a play like that no more.
You know how they used to.
Next time that happens, after this 3-game suspension, and he do that again, bye-bye. You done.
Welfully deserved.
Your career is over.
I want to get into the games, and we can do these real quick and pick the winners of this week in the championship games in college and the NFL. And I'm going to start off with the college. Number 20, UNLV versus number 10, Boise State.
Boise State winning that game. We know that. It's just a question of how many yards they trying to get my man before he make that trip to New York.
I got them, and I'll take the points at 4. Tulane and Army.
Man, ain't nobody trying to even talk about that. We talk about Army when they play Navy.
They had Tulane by 5 points, just to let you know.
Could care less.
Iowa State and Arizona State.
Again, that's one of them games I could care less. At this point, it's about the teams making the playoff or not making the playoff. Arizona State is on the verge. Iowa State kind of on the verge. It don't matter who in between them teams. They're not doing it in the playoffs. I'm going to say Arizona State, but don't care.
Georgia and Texas.
Now, that's the game we could talk about. That's going to be a good game. Again, me and you talk about all the time. That dude Hewers, man. I ain't feeling that brother at QB.
You know, I never did. So that.
But again, I'm looking at Georgia, and that dude Beck don't do nothing for me either.
Never have, never will. That's
so
how
I'm gonna go with the lesser two and kind of go with that Texas because it's some huge dudes on that Texas squad.
I'm taking Texas, and I'll take the 2.5 points because I don't think you're gonna beat Texas and Texas twice. That's just my opinion.
And like I said, if Georgia win, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, because it's not really like it's no.
Right. I mean, bottom line, both them teams in the playoffs. Period.
Penn State and Oregon.
Again, same scenario. Both them teams in the playoffs. You already know how I feel about Penn State, so you should already know I'm saying what I always say. Quack. Quack.
I'm with the upset in this one, and I'm going to go with Penn State just to make it different.
Okay, that being said, Hugh, we talk about hot seats all the time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State lose this game. They don't make the playoffs. Is that it for my mans?
Possibly so, because he basically looks good all season and just when it comes to the bigger teams and bigger competition, he always tuck his tail between his legs. So yeah, I think that if they didn't get rid of him this year and give him another year, if he do the same thing and repeat, yeah, it'll be time to let him go. I think
That being said, Coach
he'll
Franklin, I
live
think you
another
did
day.
see another game, but because y'all gonna make the playoff anyway, but y'all get to that playoff and y'all don't do nothing, I think you up out of there, bro.
Clemson versus SMU. I'm
I
going Clemson on this one.
kind of got to. SMU ain't really played nobody.
Nobody.
This probably the best team they played all season. That being said, if they whoop up on Clemson, they could make it interesting in this playoff.
I agree because they
But
hit.
I got to go with Dabo in them, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Dabo. With the, I don't know if you can call it an upset because, like you said, those other guys didn't play nobody. SMU, we gonna go into the NFL games and we gonna start.
Now, hold on, Hugh. I can't let us skip over one important game that happened this weekend. That was actually that Friday game with the Raiders and the Chiefs. What the hell happened at the end of that game, Hugh?
I just feel like it was just poor management, and that's why I feel like Antonio Pierce needs to be gone.
You don't have nothing to say about how that game was refereed in them last few minutes?
It was a really bad game all around. That was probably one of the worst games this weekend. I'm talking about college and pros. It was the worst, man. A lot of people were pissed because I know a lot of people who don't like Kansas City and they feel like, well, they was going to get a game in Kansas City anyway because they're Kansas City. And they started to do that a lot from the last year or so. They've been talking like that because of the fact is now people look at them like how they did New England. And I told you I was waiting for that day, and I waited and I waited and it finally here. People hate Kansas City now, and I figured that was going to be the case because when you win, people hate you. But yeah, that was like one of them games where it was just bad. And that's what I said. When I seen this game, when I was saying should referees be held accountable and fined for their actions, that was a prime example.
I mean, because you got to understand, Hugh, the integrity of the game comes in question more so than ever before for two very important reasons. Remember, when we talk about Vegas and the type of money that people are betting on these games, we talking millions and millions of dollars each game, particularly on a game that is televised and the only game on a Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. It was a lot of money on that game. And Vegas could have lost a lot of money if the Chiefs messed around and lost. Then suddenly these things happen and they happen to win. It don't look good, man.
Yeah.
It just don't look good. Not to mention the fantasy implications and the money involved in that.
But people been looking at that from ever since the 1 foot, play with, Isaiah Likely. They've been looking at Kansas City like, man, they just been fixing it and making it to the point where the NFL is purposely trying to get them back.
I mean, because think about it. It adds to the narrative of Kansas City mess around in 3P. Everybody need that team they love to hate. Some of the biggest years in terms of television watching in the NBA was the years where the Bulls was winning back to back to back, being the team we love to hate. When every year it was the Lakers, not the Lakers, but it was Cleveland versus Golden State. People was like, I hate this team, I hate that team, but they watched.
Yeah, it's been really bad the way they've been refereeing and just officiating.
But yeah, I definitely had to bring that one up for me. Okay, we can go on back to regular programming.
Okay. I definitely want to get into that game too. Like I was saying, the Packers and the Lions this Thursday.
Well, people, we've been lucking up these last few weeks. It's been some pretty good Thursday games of late. We've said that on the show recently. This is definitely another good one. I think it really boils down to how well we adjust to the replacements we have for our injured players. If they come in and do a pretty decent job, you already know the home crowd going to be ridiculous, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They already got people who got parking spaces set up downtown today. That's just how important Lions football has come to the city of Detroit. So I definitely expect a raucous environment. I expect it to be a good game. I got to pick my Lions, but I think it's going to be a close one. And Lord forbid if any more people get hurt. Good Lord, we do not need that.
And you know what's crazy too about it is since the points were so low, I definitely would take them with 3, and I will take the points, like you said, because one thing I'm looking for, and I'm hoping that happens. And it seems like every time you see a game with the Packers, most times it happened and not. Did a man's Joy Love try to play hero ball, and you know that hero ball catches him every time, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him make a few mistakes, man. If he play clean football, I'll be nervous, but I just don't feel like that's in him.
Okay. I definitely picking the Lions if Josh Jacobs doesn't play. They said it's a possibility he may not.
Yes,
That changes the whole prediction, particularly when you know they can't run the ball because he's out. You're more than likely to see your man Jordan Love play some hero ball at that point.
Did you also see who else is going to be out?
I did not.
The cornerback, Jair Alexander. It says it's a possibility he might not play.
Right. And then remember in that first game, the Lions and the Packers played in a ridiculously rainy game. And B, there was no J-Mo in that game. J-Mo's playing this game. So, not to mention we didn't have that dude Z. So, yeah, it's points in our favor. But again, it really depends on how well the rest of the people that are replacing the injured players play.
Yeah, because we definitely going to need them to step up, man. We had
Absolutely.
two Pro Bowlers in the past. So, definitely got my fingers crossed because we really in for the main event after this week.
Absolutely. It only gets rougher from here.
Saints versus Giants.
Really? Really? You already know. Next.
Browns versus Steelers.
Well, here's the thing, y'all. Rivalry games hit different. I say that all the time. And the Browns and Steelers are definitely a rivalry game. I'm going Steelers. Don't be surprised if this is a close game. And moving forward, don't be surprised if that dude Jameis end up being the starting quarterback, even when Watson get back in the future. I see them moving forward, rolling with him until they get his apprentice, whoever that's going to be the next Cleveland quarterback. I think he's doing just enough to earn that job.
All right, then I want to go. I definitely look at that one too before I go on. I would take the Steelers by the 6.5. But at the same time, what I'm looking at is how well Jameis played, but sometimes he gets beside himself. Those picks that he threw were two pick sixes out of the two. That was 14-point swing. But man, I definitely was surprised to see Jerry Jeudy, man. He went from the 30th to the 5th wide receiver right now after that game. 9 receptions, 235 yards, and the score. That was impressive, man.
And as I text you that day, part of that was revenge. Part of that was, I am that dude. Let me show y'all.
Yeah, especially against the Broncos team, man.
It's crazy how all those players once upon a time was on a team called Alabama. People just not respecting just how good some of them Alabama teams was in recent years.
Falcons and Vikings.
Well, if ever there was a time for Kirk Cousins to step his game up, it would be in this one. Feel some type of way about not being in Minnesota. That being said, I do believe if the Vikings beat up on the Falcons, I can see that happening. It may be time for them to see what's going on with that dude Penix Jr.
Agree. This game right here, this next that I was going to say, I'll definitely skip it, and I would say the Philadelphia Eagles by 13. I'll take those points.
Who they playing?
Panthers.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Jaguars and Titans. Man, it's going to be a rough week. I'm going to go Titans, and I'll take the 3 points, 3.5.
I'm going with the Jaguars, actually.
Okay.
Mac Jones should be a little bit better than Reeves played a little decent last week, but I'm going to go with that.
Jets and Dolphins.
I see Tua getting busy because that is in Miami.
And I got them by 6-2.
And it's about time for the cheetah to wake up over there.
Seahawks and the Cardinals.
That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, it is.
Remember, I told you first. That's going to be a good game. Both them teams right about here. It all depends on how the defenses show up in that game. But from an offensive standpoint, don't be surprised that end up being a shootout.
Then
I'm
the defense guy,
gonna flip a coin and say Seattle.
I'm gonna definitely go with them too because I feel like if Leonard Williams continue to play the way he's been playing, they definitely gonna come out on top on this one. And this is another good one right here, man. A lot of people might slip on is the Bills and the Rams.
That's also gonna be a good game, I believe. I think the Bills keep it rolling though, because right now my MVP candidate definitely that dude Josh Allen. He was very impressive in that game against San Francisco, and I think he's just gonna keep it rolling from here, man.
I'm
Put
gonna,
on his Superman cape and go to work.
I'm gonna definitely go with them, man. The Bills, and I'll take them by a whole 7. Bears and the 49ers.
This gonna be a sad little game right here, y'all. I mean, it only makes sense to pick the 49ers.
That they're at
I
home.
can see a scenario where the Bears don't win no more this year, but wouldn't be surprised if the Bears make a game of it.
Not at all, because how bad San Francisco been playing this year, and this is a really good one too. The Chargers and the Chiefs.
Now hold on now. Now we talking. Okay. Y'all see how the Chiefs been kind of shaky these last few weeks? This is not a team you want to be shaky with. Understand it's definitely gonna hurt the Chargers that Dobbins is out for the season. That really hurt because he was really playing good for them. But Harbaugh is prepared. One thing a Harbaugh team will definitely have is multiple tight ends, multiple running backs. And that dude Haskins, remember that dude Haskins from Michigan?
Don't
Look for
forget
him to
that.
be featured in this game.
Gus Edwards.
Look for him to be featured in this game and do a good job because we already know the game plan. We're gonna run the ball and keep that dude Mahomes off the field. But that being said, we get to the fourth quarter and they down by 3 or 7. Y'all already know what time it is. All that being said, them damn Chiefs win again.
I'm gonna go with the upset on this one, and I'm gonna go with the Chargers, and I'm gonna go by 3.
It should be, but I'm telling you, if it's anywhere close to the fourth, you know what it is.
Bengals versus Cowboys.
Excuse me?
Cincinnati versus the Boys at home. Which don't matter.
Two sucker ass teams right
It's
now.
the Monday game, buddy.
Two sucker ass teams right now. It's crazy because on the one hand, Joe Burrow, he having his moments, but then he ain't. The man who leads the league in sacks is on that Cincinnati defense, but the rest of that defense is trash. Where that game at?
Dallas.
Oh yeah, gotta go with the Cowboys then.
I take Cincy on this one.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
I did something a little different, man. I talked about those games first, but then I want to jump off into the games that happened prior to that. Um, how did you feel about that Colts and Patriots game in Week
I
13?
didn't. I didn't.
The Steelers and the Bengals game was one of the craziest games that I seen. I always thought Russ was playing in himself, but this was a game I finally felt like they let him cook, man, and he cooked some creme brulee in this game. That dude had one of the better games I've seen. It reminded me of Cincinnati. You know, Russ, man. He threw the ball like, man, never before. I was definitely impressed, and I had to give him credit where credit is due because he had 414 yards and he had 3 scores. And then, my man's had 309 and 3 scores too as well. But it seems like every time Joe Burrow throw like for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, they always come to a loss, man. And they were trying to play their way back after getting blown out. So they were coming from behind. So his statistics look good. His stats look great because of him playing and throwing garbage points. But yeah, man, I've been impressed with the Steelers, man, and what Russ has been doing and how good that he's made George Pickens as well, man. Because don't you notice when my man Justin Fields was on the field, they just didn't click, him and George Pickens. And now you got Russell Wilson in, man, and he's just looking like an all-star now all of a sudden.
But see, then there's of course things that's going on outside of the game. They're saying that after practice and whatnot, there's a lot of disciplinary issues going on with Pickens. I don't know what it is about being a wide receiver on the Steelers. Ever since Hines retired and everybody else that's been that guy that they
Been
took
divas.
at some point end up being a problem. From the Antonio Browns to the Martavius Bryants to the Deontay Johnson and the issue they have with him now at another team. I don't know what it is, man. It's something about being a Pittsburgh wide receiver. I mean, who was the other guy from back in the day that ended up going to Miami?
Mike Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's something about being a Pittsburgh wide receiver that just don't sit as well. I don't know. But that being said, I wonder what Denver's fan base is thinking about what they seeing out of Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah.
Because that could have been them. And remember, the best thing about that Pittsburgh team is their defense. They're not going to give up that many points every week. It just ain't going to happen.
I was surprised that I seen that this week. Last week.
Right.
The Chargers versus the Falcons. This was a crazy game, man, because I felt like Justin Herbert didn't have to do much. When your man's Kirk Cousins do the Kirk Cousins, I kind of figured I say that I don't know when, but he's going to have one of those games. And that dude, man, he threw for a lot of yards. Well, it was okay, 245, but them 4 picks, classic Kirk Cousins, man. And I think after that game, if they stinking up again and lose, the next week or this week coming up, this weekend, like you said, it's time to put Michael Penix in, man, and see what he can give you.
Man, again, the real MVP is Kirk Cousins' agent. Okay, he done pretty much did this everywhere he done went, where he'll have some good games, but then he'll have this Kirk Cousins type game, and he'll ask, "You like that?" And be like, "No, I ain't like this one. I ain't like this at all."
Especially
you still got to pay him, boy.
Yeah, that final score was 17-13. Like I said, man, the Chargers didn't really have to do a lot, man. It's just Kirk Cousins playing outside of himself, and that was the reason why they lost. And I want to move on to the Seattle Seahawks and the Jets game.
Why? Jets done because Aaron's done. Hey, Ryan, time to sit it down, bro.
I think they're
gonna hook up with your boy. He'll let you be on his show. ESPN, they will hire you and they will pay you well.
It's time for them to retool that team, man. That final score was 26-21, but it was a wild game because remember at first, man, they was blowing out Seattle, man. It was 14-0.
And let them come back. This is why I say at this point, throw the whole team away.
And it's time for them to retool over there, man, because it ain't no answer over there, man. And we kind of talked about what was going on with the Jaguars and the Houston Texans, but yeah, man, like you said, my man's actually played pretty good. Mac Jones had 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. He actually played, to me, better than C.J. Stroud in that game, man. C.J. Stroud, I just been thinking having problems with.
And everybody talking about him having a sophomore slump, but no.
That O-line is terrible.
That O-line is not good. It's not.
No chance. He can't even take 3 steps back before somebody right there.
Exactly. It's even starting to expect the running game now because they got Mixon a damn good running back, but
it definitely
nothing, you know.
Despite that, he had 101 yards in the score, and Nico Collins had 8 receptions and 119 yards. But still, man, he doesn't really get a chance to do anything. He was throwing the ball fast last year, and he still tried to. But how come when you take it a couple steps back and you trying to see your guys or somebody in your face, you ain't going to be able to concentrate, man.
It's basically senior year Ohio State for him all over again. The games that they played the punk teams, he was fine. But when they played the Michigans and whatnot, he was having all type of trouble because that line was getting him.
And we talked about that vicious hit, my man's Azeez Al-Shaair being suspended, but that game was too close for comfort, man. That final score was 23-20. So, yeah, like you said, man, that Jaguars game might not be as bad coming up.
Yeah.
We kind of brushed into the Cardinals and Vikings game, too. That final score was 22-23. I really thought that they was going to do better in that game, man, and I definitely felt like they would have gave us a cushion if they would have been able to bring the game down to the point to where we could have if they could have kicked that field goal at the end, because they still had a minute or something left. but it was just they couldn't execute, man. And you never know what team you're gonna get with the Cardinals anyway, man. You're gonna get a time where you be like, damn, this one of the teams that people sleeping on, and then you'll get this Cardinals team, man, who let a game that was definitely there slip away.
Told you they just need a few little things to tweak on that squad, and they right in the mix with everybody else.
They got a tight
Not to
end.
mention, I can't help but wonder if Kyler Murray was actually a normal sized quarterback, how much better would they be?
They definitely missing Christian Kirk too, man. Because yeah, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., but who's on that other side of him, man?
Right.
You got Trey.
Like I said, there's some good wide receivers coming out in this draft. I think they'll resolve that issue.
Who evil if they get my man's T Mac from Arizona?
I can't see it. I think he'll be gone by the time they pick.
Yeah, they can that'd be
right. I mean, Travis Hunter, even that man.
I don't even talk about this game, but we could talk about it though, man. Tennessee versus Washington. That butt
for what?
Man.
For what?
The final score was 42-19, and that's
for what?
Buccaneers and the Panthers.
For what?
Rams Saints.
For what?
All right, now Eagles Ravens.
Okay, now we can talk. Okay, I can
speak for what on this one too, because I was very surprised in how piss poor Ravens played. So yeah, we can say for what on that one if you want.
Oh no, we got to talk about that one for a little bit. Remember, take us back a few weeks ago. Oh, my man's the MVP, no doubt. It's got to be that dude. He about to win it 3 times, but suddenly he is back there in the backfield, and it's like, I ain't no running back. I'm a quarterback. I'm gonna show them I can win with my arm. This is where Baltimore is messing up at. Okay, you got to let that dude be that dude. Okay, I don't know how many times when I watched that game, it was like I could dip out right quick and hit a quick 30 yards, but no, let me wait for somebody to get open. Oh damn, I'm sacked. That seemed to happen like every 4th play for the Ravens. Okay, and then my issue is you got the best running back in football, but every other game you decide, no, we don't want to run him that much. Maybe he getting tired. You done seen this dude training video? He trains for this. You paid him to be the man. Let him be the man.
I know at the Cooper, the Gene depleted his ass though.
Oh, he did hit him hard.
That might be
hard.
Probably not a little bit of his
confidence. That being said, yeah, the Gene, he ain't winning that battle 8-9 times in a row. You keep running that dude, eventually Gene will be like, look, I'm tired of hitting this big one. Let me get out of the way this time.
It wasn't enough.
Oh, damn, here come that stiff arm.
It wasn't enough running, man. It wasn't
use your weapons properly, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, Lamar, if they ain't doing it right, look, it's time to call an audible. I got this. Because I promise you, that's what Buffalo been doing. It's been times that dude Josh Allen got on the line like, I got this. And you done seen a few of them plays. I think Lamar could do the same thing. And if he would have did that, they would have won. Then, of course, there's the other problem. Baltimore got a kicker problem. And that's the last team we ever thought would have had a kicking problem. Talk about the
kickers in the league right now. They could have won that game if he would have made those.
Should have won that game. For them 2 reasons alone. Think about it. I thought you see the day where Justin Tucker, that dude, before this season, the most accurate NFL kicker of all time. Of all time, Hugh. Suddenly, this dude has missed 3 extra points and 8 field goals. And not all 50-yard plus field goals, mind you. This dude missing 35 yards, a 40-yard field goal. What the hell is going on?
I don't know what's going on with him, man. But it's been really bad. He have a slump, and it's definitely in his head right now.
He got the yips really bad, y'all. I ain't seen it like this since, remember that dude Crosby for Green Bay a few years ago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
His probably worse though, because with that game too, and you're one of the best kickers. They already have you in the Hall of Fame for your 66-yarder. But just think about the momentum swing. That score could have easily been 28-24 Ravens, but him missing them kick, and Lamar gonna take it all on him too, because that's just who he is, man, as a player, as a leader. But we all know who was the real person who lost in that game. And yeah, man, I told you I had him on my fantasy team. I got rid of that dude with the quickness. I went ahead and got
And again,
else.
because he's been so good for so long, you got to think, okay, this next game, it could all be over. And suddenly he hit 7 field goals and we wouldn't think nothing of it. Because he good like that normally. But some got to give with that.
I hurried up and got Chris Boswell, man. I wasn't playing that game.
But yeah, but as far as the Eagles go, yeah, that's the team I'm scared of right now. Because they starting to click on all cylinders.
And you
And
should be.
looking really good. Barkley, he is definitely the MVP if Allen ain't. It's definitely one of them two right now. And Jalen Hurts, this is the best I done seen him play.
We can talk about now the San Francisco and the Buffalo game, man. And the main thing I want to touch on is, we already said, and I think Stephen A. been saying it too. And you hear other talking heads say how that window is definitely slowly but surely closing. Unfortunately, I feel like the Carolina Panthers couldn't capitalize when they traded Chris McCaffrey, or Christian McCaffrey, if you want to be technical. But I still feel like, man, damn, both sides are losers right now, man. At least San Francisco went ahead and they went to a few Super Bowls, and they had a really good running back. But how many years and how many times has he been healthy? He's been injured with Carolina, and now he went over to San Francisco. Man, I knew something was wrong. This was the best game he played in a long time, but we still knew he was banged up and he wasn't 100%. That little trip that happened with him on that one play was the reason he got injured. And when he ran, he just slid to the ground. I said, yeah, something happened. And now they said he out for the season.
San Francisco definitely didn't have an injury issue all year. But I blame them for two reasons. One, y'all was not prepared to play in this environment. How many of them players did you see slipping and sliding and whatnot? Meanwhile, you seen Buffalo players, they seem to be moving pretty good in the snow. I understand that's their home field. I mean, truthfully, Hugh, you know how I feel about some of these inclement games. That's probably a game they shouldn't have been playing, to be honest.
Not at all.
In that environment. That was a bit much.
Agreed.
It was, but they was prepared, though. I mean, Josh Allen, remember, that dude went to the University of Wyoming. He ain't no stranger to snow. No. And he played like it didn't bother him at all. At all.
Crazy thing, too, not only did Christian McCaffrey get hurt, but the backup running back got hurt. It's time for them to shut that down in San Fran.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really interested to see what they going to do when it's time to pay that dude, Debo, and Mr. Irrelevant. I'm waiting to see how they're going to play that one out.
Yeah, because you're going to pay him top dollar to continue doing what he's doing, man. It's a joke.
Yeah, and the going rate for quarterback about $60 million now. Is you trying to pay that dude petty $60 million? I know I ain't.
You know who's been really looking good this year for Buffalo too? Not just only Josh Allen. He didn't even really go crazy like that. I mean, he had 148 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I love that lateral where my man's caught the ball, and then Amari Cooper pitched it back to him. I thought that was pretty cool. But my man James Cook really stepped his game up this year.
Okay, man. Again, I can't even let you do Josh Allen like that. That dude did something that very few people have ever done in an NFL game. Not only did he run for a touchdown, not only did he pass for a touchdown, but he caught a touchdown. Only 2 other players that ever did it, Hugh. You got to put some respect on that. But yeah, Cook is definitely looking good at running back, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of that defense right now. They playing like they trying to win this thing. And yeah, the East is so trash, they already clinched. But I think you get a better idea of how good they really are in these next few games.
Yeah, but the AFC is not really that good this year either. The AFC is like the NFC at its worst now. That's how they starting to look.
Yeah, but that being said, Buffalo is not one of them bad teams.
No.
They are worthy. Don't be surprised if you look up and they right there.
Then I want to talk about that Monday game, man. Remember, I was talking about that too, man. When we and you had that conversation, you were saying it's going to be a better game than we thought. I didn't really think it was going to be at first. But Jameis Winston, this is the reason why he's not a starting quarterback right now, too,
But it's
man.
also the same reason why he's still in the league too.
Yeah, the four touchdowns was phenomenal, and almost 500 yards. He had 497 yards, four touchdowns, but those two pick sixes killed him. On top of the other interception he threw. But Jerry Judy cooked everybody, man. I said everybody can get it. I think they finally got tired and said, shit, Patrick started saying, man, you need to get on this dude. And that kind of stopped his momentum just a little bit. But the 235 yards was ridiculous, man. And my man's Mims, Marvin Mims Jr. from the Broncos, he got off as well, man. It was a pretty good game on both sides because nobody thought that Bo Nix would be in this situation he's in right now. Coming in as a rookie and just really doing what he's doing. I kind of give justice because I feel like with the coach, a lot of that have to do with him too. But he didn't really look that sharp this game. He was like 294 yards, a touchdown, and two picks. But them two pick sixes cost him. Just think about it. This final score was 41-32. If my man just played within himself and just only had them two picks, because when you think about it, one of them was a pick six and one of them was just a pick. He was on a drive to where he looked like if he would have got that drive, man, they would have won that game because they was going back and forth. But when he threw the ball and my man caught it and took it back, I said, man, this is like playbook Jameis Winston, man. So hopefully he can get that together. But for the most part, he's definitely been playing better. He's doing way better than Deshaun Watson did, though. So
I still say it's a future, not only in the NFL for Winston, but maybe in the life outside of NFL. When you listen to him talk lately, after some of these post-game press conferences, I really like where life has taken that young man. Remember, once upon a time, everybody was looking at Jameis Winston as a knucklehead, as
mhm.
somebody that was just basically going to be in the league for a hot second and end up in somebody's jail cell probably. He has grown so much as a person, much like that dude in Tampa Bay. The
Baker
dude,
Mayfield.
I really like the maturation process that both of those young men have got in recent years. You know what I'm saying? We can only hope that that catches on with certain other people in the league. But that being said, like I said, they made a game of it. I'm proud of them. But
Good game too.
as far as the Broncos go, I think we figured they was gonna be a little bit better this year, but I still don't quite know what to make of it all. It's definitely something to be said though for these quarterbacks that's coming into the league now that just stayed all 4 years and hit the transfer portal a couple times and a little bit older than your average rookie and whatnot, and played in these pro style offenses. I think it's definitely playing to their advantage. And I think because of NIL, you're gonna start to see more people not leave school early. They're gonna actually stay and do that graduate work and whatnot.
Which
I mean,
makes
just today they talked about that kid Cade McNamara. You remember that kid,
mhm.
former Michigan quarterback, now former Iowa quarterback? Because guess what? He hit the transfer portal again and play his COVID year somewhere.
Hopefully he could pan out too, man. Because I would really like
I,
to see.
I, I think it really depends on where he ends up. Ideally, I want him to get away from the Big Ten. Go play out west somewhere.
Yeah,
Try
get you.
you a team like a Tulsa or a Tulane or SMU, something like that.
I want to see him in a high climate school too. See,
Wouldn't mind it.
because I still feel like he's not bad, but he's still, like you said, he still need at least another year to polish his game.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all I really have, man. Anything else you have to add?
Okay, I myself had nothing to add, but I do want you to add something. Please let the people know because we trying to grow the brand where they can find it, brother. Hold on, let me get on out your way. Let you do your thing.
What's going on, good peoples? Y'all can find me on Facebook as the Sport Guru to you. That's my page where I put all the late breaking news and final scores of all the games. Hoopy now would just be my Instagram page. It's a lot of issues over there. My meta being with Instagram. I don't want to, step on those shoes. A lot of times when I put up my reels and stuff, I don't want to even focus on that no more. I want to focus on our brand because I feel like growing our brand is way more important, and that's what I was told today. And I really like that because our brand is better than any brand. That's in my opinion, especially when it comes to sports talk. And then I want to talk about, of course, TikTok, where I do put the reels. I put some reels over there and I get a lot of feedback. And for the most part, though, the best reels that we get the exceptions on and a lot of views is what we talk about on our podcast. So I'm starting to focus more on our podcast and our brand now that we on EV Monks and just wishing us a better future as well. And then I want to talk about, the sports guru to you at gmail.com, just in case you have any questions or anything you want to ask us. And of course, I do the Guru Perspective every Tuesday. I do it now on YouTube and I do it like on different networks now. You can definitely catch me on YouTube and you can catch me on Facebook as well and Spotify. And of course, the Guru Sports Sessions, we do it every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So thank you all and hope you all chime in.
And thank you for that, Hugh. Again, we don't have everything in the system over here because usually we'll flash some of the things talking about. Maybe I could get some of that in post production as you're of course watching this, but we record it, pre-record. Shout out to all our favorite folks who hopefully will catch us tonight. We will be in the comments, answer your comments. So still feel free to go ahead and jump in there and let us know what you got going and what you think of what we said and all that good stuff. Shout out to, of course, some of our favorites, Coach V, and of course, the Great Road to Stardom. Our guy Big Joe, who always checks in, and
Yes,
of
sir.
course, shout out to the family who let me know that we don't always chime in, but we is watching the show. Shout out to you, fam. We appreciate you.
And I would definitely like to shout out everybody who chimed in on his side and my side too. God bless y'all and hope y'all continue to give us y'all support.
Absolutely. And of course, got to send a special shout out to my guy, Ken Scroggins, over there with the Bearcats of Sam Houston State. No, we ain't mentioned in a couple weeks, cuz, but I know you've been checking out the show. Shout out to you and your teammates. I know y'all done had some rough games, but y'all about to get in season, and y'all going to do this thing. I see y'all making that tournament this year. Y'all can do it. Keep hooping, man. Do your thing. Remember, grab them boards. Grab them, bruh. And get a couple dunks in for your mans.
You need to get some dunks and playing at TV, man. Let us know that we chiming in and listening and supporting them too.
Absolutely.
Dunks and pointing at the cameras, baby.
Right on. All right, so that being said, you see that's ebook there, that's Sports Guru, and this is the show, the Guru's Sports Show, Sports Session. We are here on EV Mux, the new hookup. Hopefully, y'all like it. Let us know what you like. We still working out the things, so give us a couple weeks. We really gonna have some things for you. You know, I like it messing with these special effects. I don't know if my partner like that much. Is it too not professional for me to do the special effects? You let me know.
Special effects, man. Something extra for us to work with.
All right, then. So, we're going to find some good ones in there. We got to throw in that one with your man's laughing. We get that one. It's good to go.
We need to get the one when if we get a stinker game, like if I be like I say a game and you can hit that Mario when he die off the original 8
Okay, so if y'all know some way we can find some free special effects, let us know in the comments. We appreciate you. We know we got other broadcasters to check out the show too, But all right, y'all, we is heading on out. I do think I could do this to where we play the outro. That being said, you know what to do. You throw the fingers up. This is it, yo. Hold on. There they go. Deuce.